Welcome and hello, this is Sandra. Today I'm going to do a little bit something different. Today I'm going to tell you about something that really happened that was almost a miracle. It's a story of benches. It's a story of two benches. And I'm going to tell you about that and how it has related to my life and actually how it relates to your life. So keep on watching, and I am going to tell you this very interesting story of strength and hope. Hi, this is Sandra Hart again. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad to have you today to listen to my story of two benches. When I lived in New Jersey, maybe about 25 years ago, I bought from Smith & Hawkins 4 beautiful teak benches. Now, they had really thick arms. They were beautiful. I don't think they make them like that anymore. But really nice benches. And I had them on my property for about 25 years, scattered throughout the grounds. And I just loved them. But when I moved, I had no place for them in South Beach at all. And I knew my son had a large piece of property, and he said he wanted the benches. So I sent the benches down to him with some of my other antique furniture that, he really loves. He put the benches and the teak table that went with 2 benches in a gazebo. Now, my son built a gazebo on the very end of the creek bank. It's beautiful. He got married there with his wife. But it's just a beautiful setting, so we would go down, and it was so nice for me to see those beautiful teak benches in their new home with the table. And he had 2 other benches that he had on the property away from the creek. Well, last year in August, Tropical Depression Harvey swept through Nashville. It brought tons and tons of rain. All of the creeks, banks overflowed, some of them 3 to 15 feet higher than they usually were. Well, my son and his wife were away. And when they came back after the flood that actually even took down some 200-year-old rock walls that were built, the piled rocks on top of the walls, I think there's a special name for them. But the water had really devastated the creek and the creek bank. Well, the gazebo was still there, believe it or not, but the benches and the table were gone. Absolutely gone. The floodwaters came up and washed them away down the creek and who knows where, maybe into the Harpeth River by the time they were finished. Well, for about 6 months, my son and his wife, walked along the creek banks for as far as they could go, and they couldn't find the benches. They did find a piece of the table, a leg, never found the top, but they knew that those beautiful old teak benches were just gone. I mean, there was no way that they could have survived that storm. Well, yesterday I woke up and did whatever I had to do around the cottage and looked out my window, and all of a sudden there's this big white pickup truck in the driveway. And I went out to check, and lo and behold, there were 2 teak benches that looked exactly like my teak benches. Now, this is the miracle that I'm talking about. An acquaintance of my son's who is working with the area to build a path through the woods near the creek, was about 1.5 miles into the creek when he saw the benches lying there up on the embankment, completely safe, completely in one piece, completely whole. He put the benches in his truck and brought them to my son. Now think of it. Those benches weathered the raging waters of the storm. They weathered being beaten around in the creek as it flowed and probably hit rocks and various things. And instead of going into the Harpeth River, which probably would have been their fateful end, they landed washed up on a creek bed. And for 1 solid year, no one found them. Except Tom. And he brought them home. We were all so grateful, and I know this seems like something really silly to call it a miracle, but it really was. And these teak benches started me thinking about us, about how we are as humans. Do you know what held those teak benches together? Number one, they're very seaworthy wood. But number two, I put those benches together myself. And I had to hammer round pegs into the holes instead of screws to keep those benches together. They were made completely of teak. What saved those benches was when the going got rough and when the water absorbed into the teak wood, those wooden pegs swelled up. They became bigger and stronger, and they held those benches together. All of this reminds me of a saying that I've said before from Eleanor Roosevelt, President Roosevelt's wife. And she said, "We women are like tea bags. The hotter the water, the stronger we get." So when I saw those benches, it kind of reminded me of who you and I are and who you and I can be. The harder we get pushed around, the more difficult the circumstances are, the more we feel like we are drowning. We have the strength and constitution to hold ourselves together, don't we? Something inside of us, and I think maybe some other men might have it, but I think especially women, and I guess I'm being sexist here, but I don't care. We are so used to being strong, holding our families together, earning a living, doing 1,000 jobs, wearing 600 hats. We are used to doing that, aren't we? So when I saw those benches, I thought, that's like us. The stronger the adversary elements are around us, the stronger we are able to get. We can hold ourselves together by becoming stronger when everything hits us. And all of those things, all of those elements that could destroy us are what holds us together. So just like those teak benches who were fighting for their lives in those raging waters, because their constitution, because of their innate ability to be water safe, they were able to hold together, expand, get stronger, and remain intact, and come out no the worse for wear. And I am showing you a picture of those benches right now. Now remember, those benches are 25, well, now they're probably almost 30 years old. And they were able, even though they were beyond what we used to be when we were 40, they were able to hold together because they had a strong constitution and they gave what God gave them, the strength to stay together. And I think it's absolutely wonderful. So, you may think I'm a little crazy to be comparing teak benches riding the waves in the rough waters. But when I saw those benches, that's exactly what I thought about us as women. No matter how the circumstances are, no matter how rough it gets, we have the innate ability to hold ourselves together, because that's just who we are, aren't we? Thank you for listening to my little analogy today, and I hope that you will take something from it. I hope if you are having a bad day, if you are having a time in your life where you feel like everything is hopeless, remember who you are, and remember the strength and the inner strength that you have always had. And remember, you are not alone. You have a spiritual guider. You have someone who is stronger, helping you hold yourself together. Take care. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day today. I'm having a great time in Nashville, and so is Sophie. I hope that you will be kind to yourself today. You are very special, and you're worth it. And do something nice for someone else today, too. And don't forget, we have this huge, huge heart that it's selfish to keep all to ourselves. So let's share the love. Have a great day, and I will see you from Nashville in my next video. Take care.